Yeah, I have tried, but I don't want to join
Deemed
deemed
university.
university.
Yeah. Smriti, can you see the slide now?
Yes, ma'am. I can see the slide.
Yeah. We'll start now. Okay.
Yes,
Is the question is visible for you, Smriti?
yes, ma'am.
Yeah. The question is saying that which of the following is not a measure of scattering? So here the it is like a scattering means what? Measures of dispersion. It is also called as measures of dispersion. Just before, like I want to give a concept clarity here. If this is a central value, that is blood pressure is 120 mm of mercury. Huh, Smriti?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Now this is the normal blood pressure. Yes, this is we call it as what statistical average or measures of central tendency. Now, what is happening? There are situations where the blood pressure will be less than 120, that is less than 120 by 80. So, this we call it as clinically as hypotension. And this the other way that the blood pressure can be more than 120 plus 120 by 80, which we call it as what?
Hyper.
Hypertension. Now, this part of the statistics which looks into how much or what is the amount of deviation that has taken place from this middle value or the central value or the average value, that we call it as measures of scattering or measures of dispersion. So according to the stats, so there are some statistical methods which check for measures of dispersion. One is range, second one is standard deviation, third one is variance, fourth one is coefficient of variance. So these are the most commonly used statistical measures of scattering or dispersion. Now in the option, it is asked that which of the following is not a measure of scattering. So now we know the concept that measures of scattering are range, standard deviation and variance and coefficient of variance. So this option 2 range, then option 3 coefficient of variance, then option 4, standard deviation, also represented by the symbol sigma. These three are measures of scattering or measures of dispersion. Now this mean, the first option, that is we call it as statistical average. Smriti, is it
Yes,
audible?
ma'am.
Yeah, this we
Yes,
call
ma'am.
it
It
a
is audible.
statistical average, which is denoted by the formula mean equal to sum of all the values divided by the total number of observations. So this is a sum, and these are the number of observations, and this is the total number of what is the sample size, whatever it is. So sum of all the observations or the values divided by the number of observation. Now this mean it represents the measures of central tendency. So the question is which is not a measure of scattering. So here except mean, rest three options, they are the measures of scattering. That is they check us or they inform us how much the amount of deviation has taken place from the average. So the option which we have to choose here is mean. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. The second question, we will go to the second one. The second question, look at the question here. Staging of malignant cancer as 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 is an example of. So here the options
Ordinary.
given are nominal data, ordinal data, secondary data, and qualitative. So now we have to understand these four terms now. Nominal, N stands for name. So anything, any data or information which holds good only for naming. Example, diabetes mellitus, or hypername the diseases, hypertension, or whatever it is, rheumatic heart disease. So all these things,
Hardly.
what is their naming of the disease, like ABO blood group or RH factor. So what is there? ABO blood group, A blood group B, AB or O, or diabetes mellitus type 1 or type 2. So we are just naming here. So such type of data or the information if we are interested in, then we call it as what? Nominal data. So now does our question is talking anything about is it a oral cancer or is it a renal cancer or is it some cervical cancer? No, it is not talking about any naming aspect here. So this nominal data, it is out of our question. Second thing is what? Ordinal. Ordinal, O denotes that ordinal is here O means order wise. So here the
Order.
data, any information, whatever we collect, like in a class there are 10 students who are in the range of 1, 2, 3, who are arranged in the range of 1, 2, 3, 4 according to their height. Maybe first fellow has got a height of 170, second fellow has got a height of 169 centimeter, third fellow has got a height of 154, and fourth fellow has got a height of 150 centimeters. So according to their height, order wise we are arranging them. Now look at the question here. Staging, this is something like stages wise or order wise. This is an synonym for that. Now cancer, some disease it is talking, and this disease has got some order or some grading or some staging. 0 means no cancer. 1 means it is prognosis is very good. 2 means okay kind of prognosis. 3 means bad prognosis. 4 means worst prognosis. That is, death is very much approaching. So the survival chances are very, very less or too low. Now, what is happening? The survival chances are decreasing as the number is increasing. So now, can we think that it is an ordinal data? Fine. I will feel that it must be an ordinal data. But let us look at the secondary data also. Secondary data means what? Here, this third option, it is talking about the sources of data. Data means what? Some information. Now, this information can be collected through primary source or secondary source. Secondary means what? Already collected information, like in the newspaper or hospital case records or in the government gazettes, like some information will be there, like in the newspaper, like today COVID-19 cases are 700, and government gazette says that the total number of deaths in this Bhubaneswar area may be 50 per day. So some information is already printed in some area, so that we call it as what? Secondary. Primary means it is a very fresh information, it is not yet collected, but as a researcher we ourselves will go and collect that information. So the third option, it is talking only about the sources of data. So definitely this question is nowhere related to the source of data. This cancer information is collected from case sheet, like that it is not talking. So definitely this is also out of question. Next is fourth option, qualitative data. Qualitative data means, remember that any data that cannot be measured, qualitative data means that cannot be measured and cannot be compared directly. For example, pain. So pain we cannot measure it directly, like how we measure the weight or blood pressure, anything. They are very much sure that using this machine I can measure, but pain it is very subjective and I cannot measure it directly, so indirectly I can measure it using some visual analog scale or some other means. And even though we measure it, we cannot compare it directly also, like person A B is there, this fellow same intensity of pain, but the perception or the reaction will be different. So this fellow may feel no reaction, and this fellow will react very much hyper reaction to the pain response will be there. So that means what? Something we can measure, but it is directly measured, and it is not it cannot be compared directly. So this question is not talking anything related to this type of information, qualitative data. So now we need to think about this ordinal data only. So according to the question given and the option which is exactly that matches to it is ordinal data. Any doubts, Smriti?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I hope it is clear for you. Now let us see the next question. Which of the following indicates secular trend? Now the meaning secular trend is, in epidemiology it is like over a period of time, over a period of time.
Fine.
Like during 1900, the population of India or birth rate was high and death rate was also high. And
Hmm.
19 uh, maybe some 12 again birth rate reduced but death rate increased. Then 1921, what happened? Death birth rate was less and death rate was tremendously more. Now, as years went on, and now 2011, something there is birth rate equal to death rate. Now, this is what information we have collected from 1900s to 2011 and 2020 also. Again, the stage is birth rate equal to death rate only. Now, if we plot such a diagram for this, how it looks, let us see. 1901, then 1911, then 1921, then so on so till 2020. Let us see this. Now we will draw a line diagram. Now look at this line diagram. So what is happening? So something it is looking like this. Some down is there, some ups are there. Now, information to be observed is that during this year 1921, there was a drastic reduction in the Indian population. This we call it as statistically, remember Smriti, great dip of India. It is called as great dip of India. So a question can be asked, NEET also, we don't know tomorrow. A diagram is there, great dip of India is observed. What does it indicates? Something may be asked. That means what? This diagram, it is showing a dip here in this line, which is pointing downwards. That means during this year, there was very low birth rate and extremely high death rate. The population of India was too less. Maybe some epidemic outbreak, something would have happened. So during maybe some reasons must be there. Now again we see during some 2000s again population increased and later it decreased due to some family control measures. So some information it is given. So now this type of diagram which talks anything over a period of time, some changes are there, and if it represents that, we call it as a line diagram. So line diagrams are best suitable to depict the secular trends of any information. Like for example, weight of a child over a 10 years of period. Like initially child may be weighing 10 kgs, then 20 kgs, maybe 50 kgs, then suddenly the lady weight has reduced. So if you plot a curve, then it may look something like the child weight increased like this and all. So ups and downs will be there. So such type of thing which depicts over a period of time changes in the form of a line diagram, that we call it a secular trend. Now Smriti, I want to tell you one thing. Observe this line diagram. This is also line diagram only. There is down and there is up. So we don't know, some changes may happen up and down. But look at this diagram also. Here, here what is there? Something like the things are going up only. Some diagram will be given to you. Identify which one it is. It may be line diagram. Then what is this? Do you think it is a line diagram? No. In
No.
statistics, we call it as augue. Augue, remember this. This question may be asked to you. It is also a type of a continuous data representation only, but a type of line diagram. But the thing is that here all the things what you see is that only ups are seen. Whatever the changes are happening, up, 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 up. But here totally dips also you can see. So any diagram that represents ups, that we call it as what? Augue diagram. So this difference you have to know. This augue diagram cannot be used for secular trends because over a period of time, no. So its purpose itself is different intentions are there. So only in such maybe in hypertension, if you are measuring only hypertension, then you can see that increasing, increasing, increasing. So some type of data where intensity keeps on increasing, there the best method is to use the augue data. So the
Right.
concept should be clear here. Line diagram, ups and downs will be there, and it is best suitable to measure for secular trends. Now let us see this bar diagram. Now bar diagram means what? Some bars will be there, and in between the bars, some space will be there. And this bar diagram is mainly used for discrete data, discrete or non-continuous data. Like for example, blood group only, or something nominal data, or any disease, diabetes type 1 or type 2, something like that. Maybe this is type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes, and this is no diabetes. So it is like any data which is discrete or nominal in nature. For such type of data we can use this bar diagram. And this bar diagram, in between the bars there will be space. And now if you see this, like this is also a type of bar diagram. Now, what do we call? Do we call it as bar diagram? Smriti?
No,
No,
ma'am.
it is not bar diagram. Now it is called as histogram because in between the bars there is no space. There is no space. That means what? Histogram is best suitable to represent only continuous data. Continuous data is any number which has got even the decimal values. Like height can be 141.1 centimeter or 141.2 centimeter or 141.3 centimeter and so on like that. So it is something and data or the information which is continuous in nature. For such type of data we use this histogram. So bar diagram is out of our question. Pie chart. Now pie chart is something like in a circle 360 degrees will be there. Now this we divide in the form of a pie or sectors. So pie chart is also called as sector diagram. So pie chart now it cannot be used for over a period of time what changes are happening. No, it cannot be used for that. Only how many males are there, how many females are there to represent in the form of percentage. We can use this pie chart. So now pie chart is also not our option. Now pictogram. Now pictogram. What example I can give you is like maybe for example doctor patient ratio, doctor patient ratio. Now this fellow is the doctor. Now in India, like for every 700 population one doctor is there. This is India. Now in United States, for every 200 patients one doctor is there. Now the same fellow doctor in UK, for every 100 patients one doctor is there. So this is UK scenario. Now this we call it as what? Pictogram. So through pictures you are providing your qualitative information. You are providing your qualitative information. He is doctor. So one doctor is for 700 patients in India, and same thing one doctor for 200 patients in US, and one doctor for 100 patients in UK. Now this is exactly suitable for pictogram. And same thing like family planning, like one father mother will be there, male female, and one baby will be there. So this picture will be there, so to represent the family size of an India. Now if you see the Africa, how it will be, one father mother two children will be there. So this is the African family size. So what is like through pictures we are representing our information. So pictogram is not the thing, so the option we have to choose here is line diagram. Smriti, is
Line
it
diagram.
clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So next question. It is for a research finding to be significant. That is, if you are doing any research, to say that my study or research is true, or my study results are like very much significant or strong, then what should be the p value? It is asking what is p value. It is a small letter p. It is called as probability value. So, like what probability value means what? Whatever the event that occurs, whether it is happening because truly it is happening or it is because of chance. So, something like accidentally, something like, for example, if we tick the MCQ, sometimes accidentally we may tick a right option, then we may get one additional point over there. Or sometimes it is like genuinely we know the subject and we are very much sure that this is the right answer. That time we tick, then also we'll get one added mark over there. But this p value helps us to know whether the study results have happened truly, what are the findings are there happened because of truthfulness, or findings are just because of a chance. So to know that, a p value has been set at 5%. So globally all the statisticians, they have decided that p value means what? It basically talks about alpha error or type 1 error. Type 1 error in statistics, there is something called as type 1 and type 2 error. So type 1 error means null hypothesis. I'll just brief you a concept here. Null hypothesis, a negative statement. A negative statement. Now, for example, I will tell you, Smriti, this is not good for your life. So, one good information I have given you, and that is true also. Then, what happens? You deny that my words, and you follow your something else, and which is not right actually. Later, what happened? You came to know that whatever I have done, it is not wrong, and you repent for that. That means what? In a research, if I do, I have invented a new drug, for example drug A, and as a researcher I know that my drug is best, and I know that if I put it in the market, it will give best results to many patients. But what happened, my research has shown that this drug A is bad. This who has told? My research has told. Now what happened? Because of this, a good drug is not able to come to the market. That means what? A grave mistake has happened. And this mistake we call it as what? Type 1 error.
Yeah.
And this type 1 error is represented by the symbol alpha. Now, in any study we do research, we don't want this mistake to happen much beyond 5%. If the mistake is less than 5%, that means what? 95% my study results are true, and rest 5% some error has occurred. Okay, fine, let it be. So we can give permission to this much amount of error to happen, but we can't give more than this percentage of error to happen. So probability means it is the probability or chances of having type 1 or
Error.
alpha error. Now statisticians globally they have felt that this alpha error should be always less than
Yes.
5%. So when we convert this 5%, that is 5 by 100, which is equal to 0.05. So we can say that p value should be equal to or less than 0.05, or p value should be always less than 5%. This is a golden rule. Now if the question says that if in a research if our study findings has to be significant, then the p value should be. So now we
Yes.
know the concept. So first option it is saying that more than 5%. No, we don't want the mistakes to happen in our study beyond 5%. So definitely this is not. And second option it is saying that the error should be less than 5%. Fine, it is good. No, we don't want much mistakes to be committed. So that means what? I think I'll put this as a right option. Now equal to 10%. This 10% is a big number. I don't want so much of mistake to be committed in my study. So definitely it is out of question. And fourth option is more than 12%. Here also I am trying to commit more, a huge amount of mistake in my study. No. So the right option here is p value should be always less than 5%, or if the option is given is p value less than 0.05 is also right. Is it clear for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Now we'll go to the second question. Yes, Smriti.
Yes, ma'am.
Next question is confidence limit of 95% indicates what? Now we can correlate with the previous topic itself. If the p value is less than 5% means what? My error or type 1 error or mistakes is less than 5%. That means 95% my study results are true,
Correct.
or it is very much fantastic good results are there. So that means what? This 95% true results is known as confidence limit. That means that much of confidence I am there that my study results are true. So that is 95% I am confident that my study results are true. That we call it as what? Confidence limits. So as this thing increases 95%, then what happens? The p value, it will decrease. It will decrease. That means what? My chances of committing the errors will decrease. For example, my confidence limit is 96%. Now that means what? How much is the chance of committing mistakes, Smriti?
4%.
4%. So that means my p value is less than 4%. If my confidence limit is 99%, that means my chances of committing mistake is only
Percent.
1%. So that means what? So much I am true that my study is confident. So the thing is like this: as the confidence limit value increases, then the p value will decrease. So then the p value will decrease. So this is a rule for any statistical results to be significant. So confidence limit 95% means what? The results are significant. Do you agree with this? That means my results are very much strong. And second option says that results are non-significant. No, definitely not. Because so much of my results are true. So I can't say that whoever has scored so 95% they're bad students. No. That means it is a significant or good result. And the third option says that there is an increased error in the study. Definitely no. Or my error is only 5% here and 95% I am very much strong. So that means what? I have committed less mistakes in my exam. So this is also wrong option. And fourth option says that population mean is greater than sample mean, which is nowhere linked to this question. So now what can I say? For the question confidence limit of 95%, the results are significant. So you can directly tick for this question. Now
Okay.
we will see the another question, that is standard deviation. This standard deviation is also called as what it is represented by the symbol
Hmm.
sigma. And this standard deviation is one of the measures of dispersion or measures of scattering, and it is used most commonly used. Now I want to give you an example that in a class, like there are some four students. So this weight of the student number one is 60 kgs, and weight of student number 2 is 50 kgs, weight of student number 3 is 70 kgs, weight of student number 4 is uh, 80 kgs. This is weight in kgs. And mean class weight, that is the average weight of the class, is maybe some 65 kgs. Now I want to see how much this weight of the individual subject is deviating from the 65 mean value. That how we will do. Let us see the deviation D. That is 65, 60 minus 65. 60 is this fellow's weight, first person. So now what will I get? The D value, that is minus 5.
Minus
Now weight of the second person. How much this fellow is deviating? 50 minus 65. How much it will be?
um
Minus
minus 10,
50.
15,
Yes, now the weight of the third person is 70 minus 65. So answer
65
is plus 5.
plus
Now
5.
the fourth fellow, his weight is how much? 80 kgs. 80 minus 65. How, huh?
15 minus
No, it is plus 15.
15 plus 15.
Yes, got the Smriti? It is
Yes, ma'am.
plus 15 now. Now what we will do, shall we do the sum up all? This means what? This weight of the first fellow, he is deviating 5, he is less than 5 kilograms as compared to that of the class average weight, that is 65 kgs. Same thing with
Mm.
here also. Weight of the second person, which is 50 kgs, and he is less by of another 15 kgs as compared to that of the mean value. And when we
Value.
see the weight of third fellow, this fellow is 70 kgs, which means that he is 5 kgs more as compared to that of the mean or the average class value of 65. Now we will add up all this value. Now what we will get? 0.
So,
Smriti, 0. That means what? Do you agree that in a class can anybody have a weight of 0 kgs?
no,
No.
no.
Definitely no. That means what? There is something mistake here. I don't want to commit this mistake. Now to avoid this mistake, what will I do? Want to rectify this signs. So I will do the squaring of this deviation. Now look at here. So minus 5 square. So that this minus minus it will get nullified. Then second fellow, that is minus 15 square.
Mm.
Then third fellow plus 5 square. And fourth fellow is another plus 15 square.
15 square.
Okay, calculate. Now what we will get? So d square equal to, like it is 25. 15 into 15.
325.
How much it is 15 into 15? It is 225.
225.
And again here plus 5 means it is again plus
Minus
25.
25.
And again
And it
here
is
plus 15 square
25.
means again plus 225. When you add up all this, that is 25 plus 225 plus plus uh,
25 plus
so
225.
totally it will be
Plus
475. Now,
even
do you think that in a class anybody can have a weight of 475? This is also
no,
something a weird thing. Now, what
no.
I will do, I will take a square root of this 475 square root. So, what is the square root value, Smriti? 475 square root.
26 point something.
Something 26 point. So something like 26 point something it is there. So this we can agree. In a class,
26.4.
huh?
26.4.
How much Smriti? 46?
26 point. No, ma'am, not 40. 21
Okay, it is
point
something 21.79
7.
kgs. So we can agree that in a class somebody can have a weight of 21.79. So that means what? So this one standard deviation, how we are getting it? That means majority of the people in the class, they are deviated from this mean value by 21.79 kgs.
9 kg.
So that means what? Plus 21 minus 0.79 or minus. So they may be
Minus.
less than 21 kgs, or there are some students whose weight is more than 21 kgs when compared to this mean value. This is what is the information it is giving. So this standard deviation, we say that
Square
what is
deviation.
also called as root
Square deviation.
mean square deviation. That means we are squaring the deviation and we are taking the root of this. So it is nothing but root mean square deviation is nothing but the standard deviation. That is
Deviation.
RMSD.
Hmm.
So standard deviation is also referred to as. So direct it's a straightforward question. It is referred to as root mean square
Square
deviation.
deviation.
Yes, we'll go to the next question.
Hmm.
Seventh question, it is talking about power of the study is denoted by the formula. What is power? Power is represented by the formula 1 minus beta. Now, what is this beta? Beta is type 2 error. In any study, earlier
Error.
also told you, in any research we do, there are two types of mistakes which we can commit. What is first type of mistake, which we call it as type 1? That is alpha. That is something which is good, but our study results are saying it is bad. So, because of which, what is happening? A good thing is not entering into a market, so that we call it as type 1 or alpha error. What is type 2 or beta error? That means what? Something is bad, but our study result is saying that that drug is really good and we are releasing that drug in the market. Even we don't want that type of mistake also to enter into the market, because that is a useless drug and that drug will be entering into the market which will be of no use to anybody. So this type of mistake also we need to reduce it, so that we call it as what? Power of the study. So if we are able to reduce the second type of mistake also, that means what? Our power of the study will increase. Increase.
Increase.
Power of the study is 90% means what? Our chances to commit this type 2 error is only 10%. If our power of the study is 95% means what? Our chances to commit this beta error is only 5%. That means we are not letting some bad thing to get into the market. So that is what is the meaning of the power of the study. More the power, better is the, or strong or significant is our significant study results. Yes, so the power of the
Yes.
study is represented by the formula 1 minus beta. So it is also straightforward question. So the option number 2, it says that power means 1 minus beta. That is 1 minus beta. Then what is this 1 minus alpha? This is nothing but probability. The formula for probability, or to reduce the type 1 error, is nothing but 1 minus alpha. If they ask you what is the formula for probability, is 1 minus alpha. What is the formula for power is 1 minus beta. Alpha is a type 1 error, beta is type 2 error.
Type 2 error.
Yes.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
this is like third option, mean of standard deviation, definitely no. And square root of standard deviation, these are all wrong options. So only right option over here is the formula for power is 1 minus beta. So we'll go to the next question. Which of the following is influenced by outliers? So outlier means what? For example, in a class, maybe some students are there whose weight is like this 40 kgs. One fellow is weighing 40 kgs, another is weighing 50 kgs, another is 30 kgs, another is maybe 55 kgs. So when we take the average, that is 40 plus 50 plus 30 plus 55, divided by how many people are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. So the denominator will be 4. Now how much we will get? 40 plus 50 plus 30 plus 55. 40 plus 50 plus 30
40 plus 50, 90, 90
plus 30 plus
now
55.
120 plus
55
55,
equal to
175
divided by 4.
divided by 4.
Hmm.
That is 43.75.
That is 43.75. So this is what the mean or the average value. So now what is happening? We are getting 43.75 as the average weight or the what the mean weight of that given classroom. Now something what happens, one fellow instead of 55 kgs, he is
100 kgs.
weighing about 105 kgs. Now how our mean will change? Let us see this. So it is equal to
475
40 plus 50 plus 30 plus 105. That
105
will be 4 only.
divided by 4.
175
120.
275 and
Hmm.
5 model denominator.
So how much it will be?
40, 50,
It is
90, 20.
120.
220
225 divided by 4.
divided by
5, 5,
divided by 4.
5.
This 55.
5.5.
54,
55.
5,
55. So now what
55
is
point.
happening? Since some fellow is weighing extremely high as compared to that of the other students, now the mean value has totally changed. That means what? These extreme high values, or if there are extreme low values, that we call it as what? Outliers. So very
Outliers.
high values or very low values, we call it as what?
Outliers.
Outliers. So mean is always influenced by the outliers. That is fine.
Hmm.
Whereas median, if we see, so maybe in median, same example, if we say 40 kgs, 50 kgs, 65 kgs, and even 105 also we'll take. Now in median, how we will do the calculation? If the data is like this, first we need to arrange it in ascending or descending order. Now we will
Hmm.
arrange it in ascending order. 40 kgs, 50 kgs, 65 kgs, and 105 kgs. Since this is an even data means what? 1, 2, 3, 4. Only 4 observations are there. So for even data, how we will take the middle value? The middle value will be these two. So how to
Hmm.
get the middle value? 50 plus 65 divided by the 2. So how much it will be? Smriti?
So 50,
Plus 65,
55 point, 55.5.
55.5.
5.
So this is
Hmm.
our median or the middle value. So what is happening? Like in the same example, whether this extreme number may be 105 or 200 also, it doesn't matter. We are only concerned with the middle values. So that means
Hmm.
what? Median is definitely not influenced by this extreme or the outliers. Whereas a range means what? It is a measure of dispersion. Range again, it talks about maximum value and the minimum value. So when
Hmm.
we take a difference between the maximum and minimum value, then one number we get, that number we call it as what? Range.
Range.
So range is definitely no way involved with this outliers. Then standard deviation, as we have seen already, it is also talking about measures of dispersion. So
Person.
range is out of question. Then standard deviation also no, and median is not influenced. And the only one thing that gets affected by this outliers is mean.
Me.
So the answer to be opted here is mean.
Me.
And these outliers in the statistics, they can be identified with the help of some test, that is Dixon test or Chernet's criterion, Dixon test or Chernet's criterion. So these are the certain tests that are used to identify these outliers in the statistics. We'll go to the next question. Null hypothesis is. So what is null hypothesis? In any research, before we start, we need to state a hypothesis or give a statement which is represented by the HO, that is null hypothesis. Null
Hypothesis.
hypothesis is always a negative statement.
Statement.
So negative statements means what? Drug A is not better as compared to standard drug B, as compared to standard drug.
Drug.
This is a negative statement. So, in any question, if you see the negative statement, then make sure that it is a null hypothesis. So, before the start of any research, we need to put forward this statement. The first statement is null hypothesis. That is a negative statement. Then we have to go ahead with conducting the research. That is, if your research proves that no, this drug A is better, means what? Your null hypothesis is rejected and
Hmm.
your study results are accepted. So these are the later things what happens in the study. But anyway, null hypothesis is the one which is a negative statement, and it should be always put forward before the start of any research. So the options here are question option one, positive statement. It is not correct because null hypothesis is always a negative statement. Always in that statement, not, cannot. So such words, if they are there, then you can directly tick that it is a null
Not
hypothesis or
hypothesis.
H0. Another is alternate statement, no, and combined statement. These two are nowhere
Oh,
related to this null hypothesis. So the answer or the option to be opted here is negative
negative.
statement. Next is last question is t-test. So what is this t-test, Smriti? Am I
No.
audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Clear to you? Yeah. This
Hmm.
t-test is also called as student
Student
t-test.
test.
Student t-test. This test is mainly used to check for the difference in the difference in the
Hmm.
mean of two groups. Remember this difference in mean of two
Two
groups.
groups.
Like there are two groups, like males are there and females are there, and boys have scored average internal assessment of 5, and girls have scored an average internal assessment of 6. Now this
Six.
5 and 6 are what? Average value, or we call it as mean value, mean of boys and mean of girls. Now we want to see that whether these two differences in this mean value is really because of chance, or is there any really truly any difference is there between these two values. So to check this difference, we use a statistical test that we call it as student t-test.
Student
This
test.
test is applicable only when there are two groups, only when there are two groups. So, and this student t-test is an example for parametric test. That means parametric test means these are the type of the test where the data it follows a normal distribution. So when we plot the data or the information that is collected in the form of a graph, and that graph looks like a bell shape. So that we call it as normal curve or the Gaussian curve. So whenever any data that looks or appears this way, then make sure that you can go ahead with parametric test. Another criteria to apply parametric test is if the data makes use of mean value or standard deviation or mode or any of those measures of central tendency or dispersion for calculation, then we can say that it is a parametric test. So these are the two criteria based on which we can say that this data can be used for parametric test. Another important criteria is the data should be always quantitative in nature. That is, it can be measurable, like height, if the data is on height, weight, or blood sugar, or something like any serum cholesterol, any items that can be measured accurately, that is quantitative data, then kindly go and choose any of the parametric test. Now this student t-test is an example for parametric test, and this student t-test can be paid student t-test, or
Yeah.
it can be unpaid student t-test. So these details I will explain you in the next session. Is it clear, Smriti?
Yes, ma'am.
So student t-test is an example for what?
Param-
Parametric test. Now why it is called a student? Because it is the pen name of the person who has introduced this test. That is, the person who has introduced this test is Mr. Gossett. Mr.
Okay.
Gossett. So this fellow, he was working in some barley company, that is some wine producing company during early 1900s, and secretly he was publishing some of his scientific papers on statistics. He has introduced some formulas and tests and all, and these papers he was publishing in some nice journals, and these journals he could not put his own name because there was an obligation from his barley wine producing company that whoever publishes any research, it should be named in their company only, not in the person's name. So, just not to reveal his identity, this fellow Gossett has put his name as student whenever he used to publish.
Student.
So now the publishers, they were very much what impressed by the papers which he was publishing, and finally they could contact this Gossett, and later the test or the formula which he has given to identify the difference in the mean of the two groups, and that test he has been, it has been termed as student T test. So student means it is nothing but the pen name or an alternate name for this Mr. Gossett. Clear, Smriti?
Yes, ma'am.
So T test is a parametric test. And whereas the other options non-parametric test, no, because non-parametric test means like these are the tests where the data doesn't follow normal distribution. Now you see this curve. So how it is looking? It is not looking exactly like a bell shape. Somewhere it is skewed. Somewhere it is falling on the right side. So it is a skewed
Yes.
distribution. But an ideal bell shaped, it looks like this. Bilaterally symmetrical will be there. So this is normal curve. So when a data is like skewed distribution or data if makes use of percentages or proportions, so then if such items are taken for calculation and if the data is qualitative in nature, that is if you want to check for a compare the color or complexion or something like pain, so all this how is your emotional feeling, so or stress levels, so when all the items are qualitative in nature, that time we make use of the non parametric test. And the examples of non parametric test are sign test,
Scientist.
exact test,
Fish test.
chi-square test,
And White test.
Man Whitney test,
White.
yes, Wilcoxon test. So these are all the different
Chi-square
examples.
test.
Am I audible, Smriti?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, these are the different examples for non-parametric test. And examples for parametric test are what? Which one? Z test, student T
Test.
test.
Student test.
Huh.
Then
Then,
pair.
yeah, in this again paid and unpaid two varieties are there.
Paired.
Yes, then ANOVA, analysis of variance.
ANOVA. Two-way communication, one-way communication.
Yeah, not communication, two-way ANOVA or one-way ANOVA it
Okay.
is. Okay, then we have got one more also. ANOVA is also called as F ratio. Remember this. It is
F
also called as
ratio.
F test or F ratio. This is an alternate name for ANOVA. Then another one we have got ANCOVA. This is also an example for parametric test. Yes. So now
Okay, ma'am.
third option, it is nothing but an example for non-parametric test. So this is wrong. And Fisher test,
Metric.
it is also an example for non-parametric test. What is this Fisher test? It is nothing but a variant or a modification of chi-square test only. Because if the sample size is less than 30, then we use Fisher test. If the sample size is more than 30, then we make use of the chi-square test. And these two are
Metric.
examples for non-parametric test. I hope the concepts are clear. So t-test is an example for uh, parametric test.
Parametric.
And I think today it is clear for you all.
Yes, ma'am.
So shall we disperse, Smriti?
Tomorrow, yeah, night
And
class.
Yes,
tomorrow,
ma'am.
same time, no?
8
There will
p.m.
be at 8 p.m. There will be discussion of MCQ on cardiovascular system.
Cardiovascular means total full chapters.
Yeah, Smriti.
Hello.
Smriti, tell Smriti.
CBS means that physiology part, right?
Yeah, physiology and medicine both combined together will be there.
Right.
Yeah, you can read and come or you can listen to the discussion.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, you can attend that. We'll the questions and you go through the questions and try to solve by yourself only. And tomorrow same explanations will be given for all those questions. Some 10 questions
Okay,
will
ma'am.
be there and all 10 explanations will be given for you.
Okay,
Yes.
ma'am.
And any
Ma'am,
topic uh, tell
statistics. Ma'am, for biostatistics, I should refer Park or from Sobin Peter.
whatever